Hi, I'm Darius Williams. I'm born and bred in the great second city, Chicago. It's where I first learned I had a passion for food. As great as the city was, I wanted more, so I set out for the Big Apple. That's right, New York City. I've been here for a few years, cooking, learning, and developing all my recipes. My philosophy is simple. I make great food with familiar ingredients and present them in brand new ways. And here's my rule. It's gotta be simple, delicious, easy, and just good food. Here's what we're in for today.
So I try to make sure that DariusCooks.com isn't just any ordinary site with any just ordinary recipes. I mean, I know what good food is. I grew up eating fantastic food, and sometimes I like to push the boundaries of creativity, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. I'm going to push the boundary of creativity with a combo that's as rich and as true to my history as my history is to itself. I'm kicking things off with my recipe for my collard green and cornbread cake. This cake couldn't be any easier. It's a savory version of 4 different recipes, and we throw them together for a killer presentation. We start by making the moistest cornbread you'll ever taste. It gets its sweetness from a little sugar, and what's great is that it's made with whole milk, so it'll always be tender and moist. Then we saute collard greens and infuse them with flavor by adding red pepper flakes, garlic, and just a touch of apple cider vinegar. It's on to the mashed potatoes. They're super simple to make. We boil up Yukon Gold potatoes, add in butter, salt, pepper, and whole milk along with fresh herbs and whip them to perfection. The last piece is a simple one. We fry up some chicken and make a quick pan gravy to go over top of the whole cake. This whole thing couldn't be any easier. And of course, everything we do, it's gotta be simple, delicious, easy, and just good food. So let's get started. Super excited to make this collard green and cornbread cake. I gotta say, I grew up eating collard greens, okay? Every Sunday, just about, it feels like we had collard greens. It was my cousin's responsibility to monitor she and I as we would sit on the living room floor at my grandmother's house on a Saturday night with the newspaper, and we'd have a big garbage bag, and what we would do is we pick the greens, the collard green leaves off of the stems, and we would go for it. So I grew up eating collard greens on Sunday after church, and so I felt like a really good play on collard greens and cornbread was this cake. And again, I'm all about pushing the levels of boundary. I'm pushing, the envelope, the levels of creativity. And I know I'm saying cake, but it's not really a traditional sweet cake. It's just the presentation looks like a cake, all right? So what I'm doing is we gotta have an icing or a frosting, if you will, for the cake, right? So I'm gonna throw together some whipped potatoes that are gonna be super delicious, and they're gonna go on the outside of the cake, and they're gonna be our frosting, all right? So I'm just cutting up the last of my Yukon Gold potato. I love making mashed potatoes with Yukon Gold potatoes. They are super buttery, super delicious. They add such a great mouthfeel and texture when it comes to making mashed potatoes, all right? A little secret I'm gonna do, don't tell everybody, because everybody's gonna be doing it, all right? I've got a clove or 2 of garlic, depends on how big your cloves are, that I'm gonna smash, and I'm gonna put them right into the pot, and they're gonna cook with our potatoes. Now remember, potatoes are pretty bland, right? They have not that much flavor to them, so whatever's in the water is gonna really season your potatoes. So nothing in the water, no seasoning in the potato. A little garlic in the water, a little garlic in the potato. And I don't know about you, but I haven't met a potato yet that couldn't use a little garlic, so we're all good, all right? So here we go. These are gonna go right on our stove, and I'm gonna get those started. That's gonna be fantastic, all right? Let's talk about cornbread. Now, I am a cornbread lover. I love cornbread. So I like making it from scratch. I gotta tell you, growing up, we didn't always make it from scratch. We used the blue box, if you know what I mean, okay? They're not paying me, so I ain't saying no names, but the blue box, you know what it was. Or, if you were fancy, you go to somebody's house, not the blue box, but they have the white box with the lady on the front. You know what I'm talking about. But cornbread tastes so much better to me when you make it from scratch. So I'm doing a recipe that's super easy to do. You've seen me make this cornbread recipe so many times on DariusCooks.com. A little flour, a little sugar, and some cornmeal, because it is cornbread after all, go into a bowl, all right? 3 ingredients so far, super simple, all right? I'm gonna add in a pinch of salt to this because whenever you're doing baking, things like that, the salt really helps develop and bring out the flavor. So that's really good. Now we need to make this rise and make this fluffy. So I'm gonna add in a little bit of baking powder, about 1.5 tablespoons or so of baking powder. And that's it for the dry ingredients, all right? I'm gonna give this a whisk, give it a stir, and you can tell this is already gonna be so much better than that blue box situation right here, all right? So now that's stirred up, let's talk about our wet ingredients, all right? Just dump everything in and we're good to go, all right? I got 2 eggs. Here's the first one. Here's the second one, all right? And you heard the ding of the microwave because I've got some butter, 1 whole stick that I melted, all right? I'm gonna whisk a little bit so we don't have scrambled eggs in our cornbread because that ain't what's up, all right? So that goes in just like that, 1 whole stick. And there's one more, oh my gosh, this smells so good, all right? There's one more simple ingredient, and that's whole milk, all right? I love what this does, the whole milk does. It makes it super creamy, it makes it super light, all right? Now I'm gonna add about 1.5 cups or so. I eyeball it because I've done it so many times, but I'm gonna start with about 1.5 cups of milk because I want this batter to be a little bit looser than pancake batter, all right? That's sort of the consistency I'm going for. And I gotta tell you, first time, and I'm on the money, look at that, all right? This is our cornbread batter that we're gonna go for. I've got our oven preheated 375 degrees, okay? This is gonna go into a pan that's been greased or buttered and then floured so nothing sticks. We don't want any stickage. And then it goes off and it bakes in the oven for about 25 minutes or until you take a knife and put a knife right down in the middle and it comes out clean. We're all good, all right? So here is our cornbread. Look at that. How simple was that to do? So now that we got our cornbread off in the oven, it's doing great things. I've got these collard greens that are sauteed. They smell so good, all right? And I sauteed them. Let me show you how I did it. The collard greens are a super cinch to make. Just chop them into small pieces and then wash them really good. Then saute them in olive oil and season them with salt, pepper, garlic, red pepper flakes, and just a touch of sugar and apple cider vinegar. Cook them for about 7 minutes on high heat until they're super tender. Once they're done, put them in a bowl and set them aside until you're ready to use them. Told you, how simple was that? Super simple. And the key that really makes this, a little bit of sugar and the apple cider vinegar, and you're going to be all good, all right? So our collard greens are gonna go off to the side. That's gonna go on the inside of our cake because every cake needs a filling and every filling needs a cake, all right? Let's talk about these chicken wings, all right? So in this bowl, I've got some chicken wings. These are the flats and the drummies that I have here. Nothing special, all right? But we're gonna fry them up, and season them really, really well, and they're gonna go right on top as the garnish of our cake, all right? So let's talk about our seasoning, all right? You know I love sazon. I cannot get enough of this stuff, okay? So chill out. Don't write me talking about how much MSG is in it. I know what's in it. It's delicious, okay? So if you find the sazon good, you can omit it though, right? A little seasoning salt will do you some good, a nice Cajun seasoning, whatever you got laying around, or however you season your chicken, all right? You know, a little bit of onion powder going in and a little bit of garlic powder into the situation, all right? I don't know where you get your chicken from, but when I bought this one, it was not seasoned, so we gotta add some salt because salt brings out the flavor in the chicken, all right? So a few pinches of that and a little bit of fresh cracked pepper, all right? And a chef's or cook's best tool are their hands. So I wanna get in here and I wanna massage all the seasonings on the chicken, all right? Oh, look at this. This smells super fantastic. And that's the thing about stuff like fried chicken, you know? Like if you could smell it now, you know it's gonna be super delicious, and the longer this sits, the seasoning sits, it's gonna be great. Look at that, look how well this is seasoned. It's gonna be so freaking fantastic, all right? So let's get this dredged up and get it ready to go. On the stove, I got my trusty cast iron skillet getting nice and hot for us with the oil has the oil in there, all right? And I'm gonna put in about 2 parts flour, and I like a nice crunch on my chicken wing, right? A nice sort of the textural contrast. And we do that by adding in a little bit of cornstarch. So 2 parts flour, 1 part cornstarch, right? With my clean hand. And then with my dirty hand, I'm gonna get in here and get all this mixed up and then get it ready to go into our oil. All right, so I think we're ready to rock and roll. All right, it's time to sort of assemble our cake. First, I'm gonna finish up our frosting to our cake. Remember, these are those Yukon Gold potatoes with that garlic that's in there. All right, listen, I don't know what you know about mashed potatoes, but what I know is a little butter goes a long way, all right? So I've got butter, I'm gonna throw in just a little bit, not a lot, a little butter, okay? A little bit as in a stick, all right? And then listen, I'm gonna just start to sort of mash these up and get this butter really incorporated. All right, just like that, all right? And then I'm gonna add in salt and pepper, a fair amount of salt and pepper. All right, and then I'm gonna drop in some half and half. All right, and then just to make sure I get the right consistency, I'm really gonna go whip these potatoes really, really well because I wanna get air incorporated into the potatoes. All right, and if I feel like I'm getting a little thick on the potato, a little bit of half and half, not too much, a little bit to even it out. All right, here we go. All right, this looks really great in terms of consistency. Look at that. That looks nice and whipped. I want to make sure we have enough salt and pepper, right, in our potatoes. So here we go. Let's just do this. Perfect. It is absolutely perfect. All right, so let's assemble the cake. First things first is I want to put a little glue on the plate so that our cake has something to sort of sit onto, all right? So just like that, all right? Now, remember that cornbread we baked off earlier? Here we go, all right? Here is the first layer. It's cooled off a little bit, so you can work with it. All right, and if we did everything right, it should just slide out the pan with no problem. Look at that, all right? There's our cornbread layer. All right, that's gonna go down just like that, all right? And remember those collard greens that we sauteed? Those are gonna sit right here. First, I wanna just lob off some of the cornbread because I want it to sit pretty evenly, right? So I'm just gonna take my knife and run my knife through so I get sort of an even layer of cornbread. And don't throw this away. This is some good eating, all right? Look at that. Nice and even. And there we go. All right, this looks pretty good to me. Pretty even there. All right, so then our collard greens right here, right on top. All right, that looks pretty good to me. All right, and then here's our other layer of cornbread that's gonna go right on top. Our other layer of cornbread, it comes right out very easily, just like that, okay? This goes right on top, and we're gonna press it down a little bit and really get it in there. All right, so with an offset spatula, here we go. It's just like frosting a cake. I'm gonna take some of these mashed potatoes, and and I'm gonna put them on top and then roll it down the side, and I'm gonna frost the cake. Here we go. All right, and then the last part for decorating, I'm gonna throw in the rest of our mashed potatoes, and I'm gonna put them right into a piping bag, and I'm gonna pipe a little decoration right on top. Here we go, just like this. All right, let's not forget our fried chicken that goes right on top, just like this. Super easy to do. This fried chicken was so amazing. It's super crispy because of that flour and that cornstarch. And use your favorite, whatever way you like to decorate or season your chicken, decorate. Season your chicken, you go for it, all right? I'm just dropping some pieces right around, just like that. All right. Look at that, that looks so great. And then the last bit is our gravy that we made, right? And the gravy just goes right on top because gravy, chicken, and potato go so well together. So you just put some right just like this, right? There's no right and wrong way to do this. It's gravy, potato, collard greens. It's the food I grew up eating. Served all in one bite, just like this. All right, can't wait to give this a try. All right, look at that. Just like that. All right, and I know you want to see me dig into the cake and give it a try. I want to give it a try. Here we go. I'm gonna cut a little piece right there with the cornbread. Oh yeah, look at this. The cornbread and the collard greens right off on the inside and get the whole bite. I'm gonna give it a taste. Here we go, here we go. Oh yeah, oh yeah, that's it, that's it. The cornbread is super moist, super sweet, super decadent. I get a hit of that gravy that's so good and delicious, really savory and unctuous. Watch this. You hear that crunch? That crunch is from our fried chicken. Out of this world. Seasoned to perfection. It tastes so good. Listen, this is a cake. You saw it go viral. It's all over Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and it's now on my website. It's DariusCooks.com. Two things I gotta tell you, all right? Food is my life. Life is my food. Until next time, I gotta wish you happy cooking from my heart to yours.